I'm Emmy, your Quality Improvement Specialist, and I'm here today to talk about meeting the Family Involvement and Support Standard, FIS 7. This standard requires that programs complete a self-assessment of cultural competence using a respected assessment tool. Question: why is cultural competence important, and how do we know if we are culturally competent? Rationale. A common thought is, I am Black, Latino, Asian, I come from this community, etc. I am naturally competent. And it's true. Being from the same culture as the families you serve make it easier to relate to their needs and concerns. Research shows that providers from the same ethnic group can help to speed and ease the acculturation process. But is that enough? Food for thought. Conducting self-assessments of cultural competence allow us to see if we have any blind spots. Just because I am from a race, minority, or ethnic group doesn't mean I understand what everyone in that race, minority, or ethnic group has experienced. Even within one group, there is diversity. Definition. The definition of cultural competence is the ability of service providers to respond optimally to all children, understanding both the richness and the limitations of the social and cultural context in which children and families, as well as the service providers themselves, may be operating. A simpler definition of cultural competence is knowing yourself, your opinions, biases, and strengths, and accepting that the families you serve might have different opinions, biases, and strengths. There are two components to this definition. The first is working well with people who are different. The provider has to be willing to accept that their beliefs and perceptions are based on their experiences and are not universal. This allows for a relationship that is reciprocal and has room for both parties to learn from each other. The other component is recognizing that the seeds of successful interactions can be found in the cultural differences. The place to start with cultural competence is with the assumption that all families want the best for their children. Knowing that we all want the best, but might express it differently, creates a bridge and not a border. To narrow the definition even more, cultural competence is working well with people who are different, while recognizing and appreciating the differences. What needs to be done to meet this standard? Using respected assessment tools gives providers the information to be self-reflective and proactive. I like the assessment tools recommended by this standard. The NAEYC Pathway to Cultural Competence Checklist and the self-assessment checklist from the National Center on Cultural Competence. Both are easy to use. They're straightforward checklists. My favorite assessment tool for providers working with English language learners is the Head Start Cultural and Linguistic Responsive Program Preparedness Checklist. Whichever assessment tool you choose to use, remember, cross-cultural competence is demonstrated in assessing your practices, ideas, and beliefs to identify if those practices, ideas, and beliefs meet the needs of a diverse population. And remember to create an improvement plan based on your results.